Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Silver Cocaine Aristo. But today, we're going to be taking a look at my 1991 Mercedes 300 SL.
She love Batman. Batman. She love Batman. She love Batman. Batman. She love Batman. Batman. She love Batman. She love gangster action. Me say where you are, she say back shot. Hood inna your mouth make your stop chat. Hood inna your hole make your crotch black. She a work for me fat cock. 134 hashtag. Eastside like caption, so she bring 100 and hot girl. She love Batman. Batman. She love Batman. She love Batman. Batman. She love Batman. Batman. She love Batman. She love gunmen, don't fret me, we make your man have to run away. See the AK when me bust this, so me bust in your belly.
So believe it or not, this car actually has a lot in common with my Aristo. You might ask yourself, what could they possibly have in common? Well, they both have straight sixes. They both have Getrag manual transmissions. So this is actually one of 397 5-speed manual cars that were sold in the US during 1990, 91, and 92. This car made its debut at the Geneva Auto Show in 1989. This car had a very long run. It ran from 1989 to 2001, and there were over 200,000 built, and of all of those, they only made 397 for the US market in a manual transmission, and I have one sitting right here. This car was designed by Bruno Sacco back in 1984, and they started developing the car during those years, 85, 86, 87, until its release in 1989. This car was said to be Bruno Sacco's most perfect design. It shares a floor pan with the W124. For those of you who might not know, that's the E-Class of this era. They share a floor plan, but they do not share a chassis. Alright, so let's take this car on the open road and let's see what it's like to drive a 5-speed manual R129. See if we can open it up a little bit. Show you the performance or lack thereof. First of all, when you're sitting here, it's a luxurious feeling. The leather is very soft, but at the same time, it feels sporty. The suspension is not super soft like most Mercedes are. It's definitely on the sporty side, I would say. The shifter is very smooth. The clutch is very smooth. Allowing for just a smooth drive. Everything is smooth. The engine is smooth. There's no vibrations. It's just a high quality Grand Tourer slash luxury sports car. Alright, so we're gonna start from a stop in first gear and let's see what the performance is like. this car basically came in 3 different engine arrangements. You had the 3-liter straight 6, which was called the M103 or M104. The M104 being the more powerful engine, which made around 228 horsepower. Then you had the V8, which was a 5-liter, and that was the M119. That made around 320 horsepower. And then you have the V12 6-liter, which made around 390 horsepower, and that was the M120. That was the big boy. That was the motor that the big AMG cars got. The SL73 got that motor. It was bored out. Actually, supercar, the Pagani Zonda got that same motor, bored out, and I think it was making around close to 700 horsepower once AMG got done with it. So those are pretty much the 3 different engines that you can get in this car. So being that they only made 397 of these cars in a manual, it does make it pretty rare. The value is going to go up, but there are way more rare SLs than this, and those are the AMG and the Brabus SLs that came out in the early 90s. AMG was just getting into bed with Mercedes officially, and AMG made about 5 different versions of this car. They made a SL60, a SL70, a SL72, a SL73, and a SL55. So they made about 5, and the most powerful one was the SL73, which had the worked out 6-liter in it. It was making well over 500 horsepower at the time. And like I said, that engine also went into the Pagani Zonda, and they, souped it up even more. And those AMG cars, the numbers are very low. I'm talking about they made like 85 of one, they made 120 of another one. Very, very low numbers. So those are the most sought after high dollar SLs on the market right now. You got a couple other ones like the Silver Arrow. Those are pretty rare also. And then you have the early manual ones, which were only optioned in 90, 91, and 92. So again, this car dropped in the early 90s, and this is also a car I've always wanted ever since I was a kid. This car was very expensive. You had to be making a lot of money, because this car, as it sits today, this is one of the lower trims, 300 SL. This was about 75, and I think it went up to about 120,000 for the SL 600s. And in today's money, that 75,000 for this car is probably about 120,000. So you had to either be, people like Princess Diana, she drove one. Dr. Dre drove one. A lot of celebrities drove one. Or if you was like an exceptional hustler back then you were probably able to afford something like this. Luckily for me, the prices started to drop, and they became attainable. I've owned 2 other SLs before this one. Both of them were 500s, the V8. I had one with a Brabus kit, and I had one that was fully stock. I sold both of them, and this one is my favorite one out of all of them. It's the slowest, but it's my favorite one because it has a manual, and it's just so clean, very clean, inside and out. It's a very fun car to drive. Very rare also, so I probably won't be getting rid of this car unless I'll be able to trade up for an NSX, but that'll probably be the only way. Alright, so let's take a walk around this car and check it out, and see what I've done to it. So far in the front, basically I had the entire front end resprayed over. It had a lot of rock chips, things like that. Those yellow fog lights, I sprayed them with yellow clear. I just love yellow fogs. The wheels, so these are AMG R17 Aeros. They are originally for a W124, so I had to put spacers on them. These wheels are post-merger, because as you could see, the Mercedes and AMG logo on the wheel is together. That's how you know. So these wheels were made after the merger. Beautiful wheels. I still do have the original wheels. If you look at the exhaust real quick, you can see AMG tips. So on the exhaust we did straight pipe cat delete. No Name Motorsports in Lindenhurst, Long Island. They did the work. Sounds beautiful. You'll hear when I start it up and rev it. I mean, it really sounds beautiful. Doesn't sound too racy. It's not too loud. It's pretty much perfect. Gears here. Little heel in toe there. So basically, as you can see, the car is pretty much 95% stock. So we could take a look inside, see what's going on in there. So on the inside we have gray leather. Not many rips or anything at all. We got a little wear here, but I'm gonna refresh that. A little bit of wear here as well. Automatic climate control and the 5-speed manual, which they call dog leg because it's up and over to get to second. They say it's like a hind leg of a dog or whatever. That's why they call it dog leg. The transmission is a Getrag, and at that time they put these transmissions in the car. They put the same transmission in the 190E because it was a touring class car, and during races it spent most of its time in second and third gear. So that was the logic behind putting a transmission like this in this car. Alright, this is my chopper phone. So Some of y'all might not know what that is, but that's alright. Unfortunately, it has a CD changer in here. I'm trying to get rid of it, but it's a pain in the ass, and I don't want to break this right here, so I'm gonna have to leave it. Passenger side airbag. Steering wheel is huge. I wouldn't mind replacing the steering wheel, and it has 106,000 miles on the clock. So in these cars, you had storage compartments in the back. One here, one here. Some people put speakers in them. You know, I try to keep it as original as possible. But they, you know, they hold a decent amount of stuff. This here is the roll bar. In case of an accident, it actually deploys within 0.3 of a second. In case the roof is off, it'll flip up in 0.3 of a second in case of a rollover, so your head doesn't get crushed by the road. So the trunk is operated off of a button here. You also have keyless entry with the fob right here. Hit this button. It's a decent sized trunk. It's not bad, you know. All the convertible stuff, when the cloth top and everything goes in here. I'll try to show that also. So about the motor real quick. So it's an M104 straight 6. Yeah, I know you're looking at all that space. Yeah, I definitely want to throw a big turbo in there and boost this. But I don't know. A lot of people are telling me, yeah, keep it classic, keep it original. But I don't know. I might have to just boost it because this need a power bump. But anyway, straight 6 M104 3-liter, makes 230 horsepower roughly. NA of course, and this has a basically extinct fuel injection system. It was called KE Getrag. It's almost like a mixture of carburation and fuel injection kind of put together. I'll try and explain it on another video, but basically that's what it is. So it's not really much you could do as far as tuning this car, but I mean it runs pretty well. I don't really have much issues with it. We did some preventive maintenance. We did the timing belt, water pump, things like that. I've heard that this motor has head gasket issues. I mean I haven't had any, but I don't know of anyone who had any, but I've heard it nonetheless. And then if you look down here by the headers, we coated the headers and put copper nuts on it. No Name Motorsports in Lindenhurst, they did the work. Beautiful work, sounds good, looks factory. You know, so I could take this car to car shows and people will definitely appreciate, you know, this engine bay for what it is. It could use a little bit of work, like around here. I gotta tidy this up. I did put a whole new hood liner on, but that's it. The car is pretty clean, the engine bay is clean, and I might leave it like this. I don't know, I just might have to boost it though, but we'll see. So just in this past year alone, the 300 SL has become the most valuable car in the world. Not this 300 SL, but the original one. That one was built in 1952, right after the Second World War. It was the first SL. It stands for super light. This one is definitely not light, but it's still a SL. And it was basically the world's first supercar. They built this car to compete. It was Mercedes' first car that they built for competition purposes. It raced in everything from 24-hour Le Mans at Nürburgring, Mile Miglia, you name it. That car was a competitive racing car, and it was definitely winning a lot of races when it came out. So the 300 SL nameplate is very significant in that regard. So it definitely has the racing pedigree there. This car is definitely not a lightweight racing car. It's more of a Grand Tourer type of car, made for comfort. The original one had a gull wing. You know, this has regular conventional doors, as opposed to the gull wing. But still definitely a fun car. Definitely a car that is on the rise as far as price. They're becoming more and more desirable. The car definitely took the SL into the modern era. When you talk about the early 90s cars, you're talking about a car that's mostly mechanical. Yeah, it did have a lot of technical innovations for its day. The soft top, I think it opened and closed in less than 30 seconds. That was a first. You know, the passenger SRS airbag, the safety equipment was just top of the line at the time. And, you know, this car, it was more of a mechanical car when you compare it to the cars that came out in the later years that had, I mean, electronics all over the car. So me personally, I'd rather get an early 90s SL. If I was to get a late model SL, it'll probably be a 2002 Silver Arrow because of the collectability, or a 98. 98 was the perfect year when the car still had the M119 engine, so it had more horsepower, and it didn't have the wire harness gremlins of the early 90s car. Now this car is exempt to the biodegradable wire harness because this is a 91. I think they started with the biodegradable harnesses in 1993. And yeah, other than that, this car really is a solid car. It has no issues. Even little things like the way the door closes, it sounds like a bank vault when you close it. You hear that thump? Just quality paint, the undercoating, the R129 with rust, you rarely see it because, you know, this car was built before Chrysler came into the picture and screwed things up. So yeah, that's the 300 SL nameplate quality. Can't beat it. So that's it for this video today. I'm not going to go too in depth into the R129. I'll probably go in depth on another video, but I just wanted to show you my car, the way it is, tell you a little bit about the 300 SL, the pedigree that it has, and you know, just a closer look into these cars. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and tune into the next video. Until then, peace.